Hi guys, in this video we're going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to be covering any DCC topics or anything fun like that, but we're going to do a layout tour. Several of you have requested to see some more pictures, videos of the layout, and so we're going to do that. Some probably wondered if there's more to the layout than what you've seen here behind me for so long. And so the layout is built for operations, so there's not a whole lot of scenery done at this point. A lot of the freight cars, locomotives have not been weathered, but the layout is built for operations and has been in operation now for about 3 years or so, and so it can host up to 11, 12 individual operators plus a dispatcher. If other people join, then we can run two-man crews on some of the jobs, and we will go around the layout from point to point and just kind of show you the different locations and aspects of how the layout operates. So this will be a little bit of a longer video, and I want to do this also before I make some changes to the layout, and so that way you can kind of see the before and after of what I'm trying to accomplish here. So let's get on over to the layout. Okay, this is a storage room area, and I've got two tracks here that pass through a hole in the wall down there. That is actually a stairway that comes down here into the basement, and so we've got two tracks and they come around this way, and there's a spur here that leads to TJ Sands, a small industry, rock, sand, gravel, and then through the wall, and that brings us to our intermodal facility. And so we have several tracks here that get switched out during the op session. And then back behind here, we've got 4 staging tracks that stage 5 different trains that run throughout the op session. And as we move along here, we've got All-Pat in the background, and then we've got CNC plastics here in the front, Wholesome Foods, and then we'll come on around this way. And we've got an auto rack facility here in the front, and we've got behind that an Exxon and Fred's Furniture. And through this section, it is a double track main line, so that way a local can work the industries, and any through trains can still get through the area on either the north or southbound main. And then we've got several other industries as we come along this section of the East Belt. And this layout operates as a point-to-point. And the trains that are in staging, some will depart going east, some will depart going west. And at this point we are beginning to enter Murray Yard. And here it is serviced primarily by the Burlington Northern. However, we do have some Santa Fe power here in the yard. And it is on the front side. And there is another yard that is in the back, and that is the Missouri Pacific. So even though they are side by side here, they are worked completely separate with 2 separate operators during the op session. So now we are ending the end of Neff Yard and have a small engine facility here. And then we'll come on around here. And this is the Blue Flint ethanol plant. And during an op session, this is worked by an operator, and it takes the entire session to work this industry here. And the tracks that go through the wall here are just for switching leads, although they do connect to the other side. Trains are not operated like a through freight going on those, it's just for the switching lead. And this is the other side where they come out. And this area actually is worked by 3 different jobs during the op session. So we've got in the back a doorman, facility for some auto parts, box cars, and some rock, sand, gravel here. We'll come on around. Got Allied, Superior Surface, the Cargill grain elevator. I've got some building flats that I'm not done working with, and so they're just sitting back there for now. And I've got the large Bartlett Grain facility in the background. Which features a double crossover on both sides of the shed. So there you can see one of them there, and then there's the other one. These industries all right here are served by the Missouri Pacific. And this is just a switching lead here that just dead ends here at the wall. And the back side, we call it the 19th Street Yard, and it's served there by that Burlington Northern locomotive there, and has a few tracks it switches in and out. Also works the interchange track, and then the Missouri Pacific comes in on these tracks here, and so there's 3 cars there at the interchange. There's the diagram for those. And this is one of the few areas that actually has push button control for some of the turnouts, and that is because they're kind of hard to reach back in that area. So for the yard master here, it makes it a lot easier to throw those turnouts. And we will go along here to another section, come around the corner, and here we have Bartlett Grain. And this whole area is also worked by a single locomotive, which appears to be missing at the moment. It's usually sitting right there in front of the caboose. This session here begins with the local picking up freight cars from this area and delivering them to a yard, and then brings back another group to make the setouts. And then right here, there's a beginning of a Y, and there's the signal for it to control it, and it goes around the corner. We'll go around the other side so you can see that. And here's the other side where the Y comes out. And this small yard here is also its own job during the op session, and so it has several industries along with these yard tracks. And there's an interchange track there in the middle that gets switched, and another grain elevator in the back. And so now to follow it all around, got some industries back here that get switched out, and another smaller grain elevator in the back. Got a small engine facility here that goes with the yard here that we're about to come around to. This is our Northeast Kansas City yard. It also has a grain elevator in the back of it. This is a 4-track yard, and then the main line cuts between the yard tracks and the grain elevator. And this is the yard lead at the end of the yard, which was originally the main line leaving, which has since been abandoned. And then we've got a few industries here at the end of the yard. And then that takes us around the corner here. And then a couple of crossovers here on the main, and then this leads us up to the part where it goes through the stairs to where we started in the storage room. And so that completes the walk around part of the layout. Alright, so over here is the dispatcher panel, and there's the phone that the dispatcher uses to contact the crew that's out on the road. And on the panel we can see the location of the trains as they are indicated by the red lines showing occupancy. The locomotive numbers are also reported onto the panel via Railcom. And then we also have layout lighting controls, which are these, these are the staging track, power on and off sections right here, so we can turn staging track power on and off per track, which are these right here. And that way it just cuts down on extra sound from sound locomotives sitting back there until they're ready to be used. And then this is the layout lighting section here. We can change the lighting on the layout from day scenes to night scenes, and it's on an auto rotation during the operating session. Now what I'm going to actually be changing is over here. It's kind of hard to see. Behind here is the control panel. That's the Digitize DR5000. It's a command station. We've got some hubs and some things there. And just a side note, over here, loc programmer and the decoder tester. And so that's where I used to set up all of the decoders. And if they're already installed in the locomotive, we can just use the track right there. And then a printer for printing all of our switching jobs. And the programming track that's connected to the command station is behind a little shelf right here, so you can't really see it. Just kind of, it's painted black so it blends into the wall. So what I want to do is I want to move this up over here on this wall to where it is more visible. We also have some other components we want to add to this, and where it's at now there's just not any space back there to do that. So that needs to come out and go up onto the wall. And then we'll show you here some other components that we will be adding. Alright, so some of the things that I will be adding to the layout are the lens fascia panel. It has 3 places to plug throttles in, 2 DIN style, 1 RJ style, and those are for throttles. So if operators like using the throttles like the LH101 or even the new LH01, which is kind of a nice lightweight easy to use throttle. It's got a nice digital readout right there. And they'll also be adding the lens Railcom readers. Probably do 5 of those in the staging yard up on the fascia, so that way at a glance even the operators without walking around to the dispatcher panel can see which locomotives are on which track. Also we're going to add an NCE wireless receiver, and that will be for the large NCE throttles like this, or even the small NCE throttles like that. Provides wireless walk-around function, and I think I can get enough range with just the one to cover the entire layout. Also going to add a mass auth receiver. Looks like this. Has a LocoNet, ExpressNet ports on it as well, and then that will allow operators to use the larger style Pico throttle, and they run on Wi-Fi. And then also we're going to add some new fascia panels. These are by DCC Concepts, and these are compatible with NCE as well. And so we'll put some of those around for just being able to plug in throttles when necessary. And then some of the alpha panels, they're great digital readout. It'll show exactly what kind of power consumption you've got going on. And so we'll be putting a couple of those in just so we can monitor the usage on the layout. And then also the receiver for the proto throttle, we'll putting that up as well with the proto throttle to be able to operate. And so one other thing I'll pull out of the box is upgrading the power supply for the DCC command station. This is another DCC Concepts product, and it provides ultra smooth, clean power. It's got on-off switch here, and then the connections on the side. And so we'll be using that for the command station. And so that about wraps it up with the hardware changes that we'll be making on the layout. There are some physical changes I want to change on the layout. The layout over here to my right, where the 2 yards are side by side, I'll probably change that and make that more just one single larger functioning yard, and that hopefully will smooth out some of the operations there. And so that's it. Appreciate you watching, and stay tuned for some more videos.